New nameplates.
Just reminding us that it's time.
Your month can't have.
Good evening. The Columbus City Council meeting for September 19th, 2022 will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, Nebraska Revised Statute 84-1407, a current copy of this act is posted in this meeting room. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Bulkley.
Here.
Augustine Schulte.
Here.
Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski. Creashaw.
Here.
Lower.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mrs. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. If at any time during our meeting this evening, anyone in our audience would like to come forward and address the council, we'd ask you please come to the podium, give your name and address, and we'd ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item 4, consent agenda. The following items will be considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the City Council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the September 6, 2022 City Council meeting. Item 4B, resolution number R22-114, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. Item 4C, Finance Department reports, and item 4D, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and Council, is there anything you would like removed from consent?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to a special presentation this evening. This evening I have a proclamation for one of our community partners. Whereas ADM, previously known as Archer Daniels Midland Company, a leading global agribusiness and nutrition company, has long been a valued business presence in the Columbus, Nebraska community. And whereas the company marks the 120th anniversary of its founding on September 30th, 2022. Now, therefore, I, James B. Bulkley, Mayor of the City of Columbus, do hereby designate September 20th, 2022 as ADM Day in Columbus, Nebraska, in recognition of the special relationship that exists between the company and our community. Pretty neat to have somebody that's been around that long as a vital part of our community. All right, we'll move on to public hearings.
Item 7A, public hearing. Receive public comment and consider designating redevelopment area 11 southeast of the intersection of First Street and South 14th Avenue as blighted and substandard. The Planning Commission recommends the area be declared as blighted and substandard and in need of redevelopment pursuant to the Nebraska Community Development Law.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Good evening. Roger Nadrikal, 213 South First Street, Norfolk. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and Tara. I represent NeighborWorks Northeast Nebraska. I've been the CEO there for many years. And we have joined other partners, Mesner Development Company and Progressive Builders, to develop a tract of land here in Columbus, which is identified in this blight study. And so we're asking for your support in moving this forward. Upon your approval of the blight study, then we'll be progressing with the preliminary plat and looking at applying for some TIF funds to help us with the development of those 44 some acres. At the present time, Leroy Callwhite, who's in the audience here, of course, he owns the land, so we have a purchase agreement with him at this point to purchase all 44 acres into various stages and phases to develop that area. Glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, council? I know you don't have it plotted yet, but what would you think might be the number of, is it too early to guess on the number of homes?
Really is.
Because you don't know? Okay.
Our first phase was just going to be the first north half, and then we'll develop the other south part in the second and third phases. So anywhere from 60 to 80 maybe units.
Okay.
A mix of single-family, townhomes, triplexes. I mean, we're not sure yet, so we're just in those early planning stages of it.
Anything for the older community?
At this point, we don't have any special financing that would, dictate that, but it'd be open to anybody that wants to live in that given area. So, and when we get it all put together, I'm sure it will be open to other builders to come forward. So we will not be building the units ourselves entirely. Some of our partners will probably be doing some of the building, but definitely will be up to other builders to purchase lots. And so it would be whatever market they want to try to meet and serve would be up to those builders as well.
Awesome. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing. Anyone else to speak for this public hearing? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7A1, resolution number R22-115, designating redevelopment area 11 as blighted and substandard.
Mr. Mayor, I move resolution number R22-115 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R22-115. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7B, public hearing, receive public comment and consider designating redevelopment area 12 east of 48th Avenue between 34th Street and 36th Street as blighted and substandard. The Planning Commission recommends the area be declared as blighted and substandard and in need of redevelopment pursuant to the Nebraska Community Development Law.
All right. Anyone here to speak against this public hearing?
Hi, Brett Kumpf, 3930 48th Avenue. And I just wanted to get some answers clarified on it. Is the farmhouse part of that area then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It just seems like a lot of it has been banked on this little farmhouse that's been there for a lot of years, for this TIF money here. I mean, if that sale did not go through, this thing would be just totally lost in the woods with that. And I know, we sent out a memorandum saying that we need this TIF money because of high development costs and things like that. But I just wanted to let you know, I mean, to the to the south of there, that ground's been developing, 3 new roads there, and that's been developing without TIF money the whole time here. So, someone's able to do it without the TIF money, so there is that. And then when I just read over like the report, to make it substandard and blighted, a lot of that, the bulk of it is basically because of this old farmhouse that was there, that's been there for many, many years. And, they also talk about the curb and gutter, as part, not being up to snuff, I guess, but, that's the city's curb and gutter there, and it seems to be just fine to me. And then about the area, that's been stable for like 40 years or whatever. And that's true, but, part of it's farm ground and we don't do anything about that. So it's just this one farmhouse that we're talking about again, So we have this huge project going through, because I know we need housing in Columbus, but we have this huge project going through, and it's all based on this one townhome or this one little farmhouse there. And I don't know. I just thought some of the items in the report were very, you could read it one way or the other. Like with the drainage issues and things of that nature, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit, I don't want to say sketchy, but could go either way on it type thing. So that was my only concern.
Any questions for Mr. Kump? All right, appreciate it. Anyone else to speak against this public hearing? Anyone to speak for this public hearing?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Keith Marvin with Marvin Planning Consultants, and with me is Mark Otto, who is with the developer. And I guess we're here to answer any questions. We've got a few already, apparently. This is not an atypical this is a pretty typical situation in an area like what we're seeing right now. We rely a lot on existing houses in order to see some things develop. We also look at some of the issues with streets and sidewalks and lack of sidewalks, and drainage can be a real issue. One of the reasons that we look at the drainage issue is because of problems a lot with the issue of West Nile these days, and I know that we've started seeing some cases in the state of Nebraska right now. So, those are fairly real issues. And no, there's...
Hey, girls, I think it's probably batteries that are going down in that, because that's an emergency light that's now come on. It won't bother us, just that humming. Let it go on for the meeting. But I appreciate you looking at it. Thanks. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So, we've done a number of these studies in different communities across the state, in Grand Island and in Hastings and several other communities, as well as David City, where I reside. So it's not uncommon to have a lack of some of these areas, especially with newer development of raw land. Unfortunately, our legislature hasn't given us a lot of tools to deal with regard to development issues, and we have to take advantage of what we have out there, and that includes tax increment financing. So I'm here if there's any other questions. I know Mark is open to answering any questions as well.
Any questions, council?
I have a question.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I'd like to go back to Mr. Kumpf, please. Our first speaker.
You're welcome to do that,
Yeah,
yes.
if this gentleman's finished. I guess the question I had was, in your concerns, do you have concerns that the blighted and substandard, this is going to have an effect or an impact on your personal property out there, or?
That's a good question. I don't know how this I'm not a tax increment financing expert, how this affects the citizens' taxes, I know my land value, which is very close to there, has gone up $40,000 this last year. So, I mean, yes, it is a concern for the citizens. I don't think a lot of people understand the tax increment financing, and it'd be good if someone would explain how that could, affect our taxes down the road, because this is a long-term commitment here,
Sure. I guess I just wanted to understand, your concern is just for the whole, over the
Exactly,
whole
just for
area,
the
not
citizens.
so
Just
much
when I
your-
read that,
not your
it
personal
brought
property.
concerns to me.
Okay, about the
Especially
air-
reading the report and things of that nature. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure I understood that. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else want to speak for this public hearing? Hate to have you come all this way and not say anything. Come on.
Mark Otto, 4071 Anne Marie Avenue, Grand Island, Nebraska. It's a 300 acre or 300 unit parcel we're going to put on there. We really go places to elevate communities. There's a lot of people working in subsidized housing and so forth. This piece, in reference to the drainage, is really a unique piece of infill. As often happens with the city, you end up with a piece that kind of time forgot. And so when you look at the storm drainage issues there, it's going to need a lift station, particular for this ground, its own detention area, and a lot of dirt. So it's not just a jump on the piece and go like some other stuff. And so I guess with that, I'd answer any questions you may have.
Do you have any breakdown of the 300 possible doors that are going to be there, or is it too early to really break that down yet?
It's pretty early. We've been working on the design of it. Mostly what we look at is a 10-plex unit. We like the corner units, and it's really an attractive variance. So we get a unit from 660 square feet all the way up to about 1145. So it offers a lot of variation for market rent. And it's a pretty amazing product.
And you have some of these in Grand Island, some other communities?
Yeah, so we're building this exact unit in Grand Island right now. We built a variation of it in Kearney. They really do. We've got doctors, lawyers, teachers, students, right? So it's really meant to be something that you can market your community with and draw people in.
Great. All right. Any other questions?
We need,
Thank you.
All right.
it's ready, isn't it, for tomorrow? I mean,
What?
we can rent it out already, can't we?
Yeah, just a tick longer.
Or any of these are all market rate?
Market rate.
Okay, there's no lower basic income?
Not on our product, no.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak for this public hearing? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7B1, resolution number R22-116, designating redevelopment area 12 as blighted and substandard.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of resolution number R22-116.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R22-116. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7C, public hearing, property tax request for 2022-2023.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing? I would entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to, what are we up to?
Reports of council
Reports
committees.
of council committees.
Item 10A, Public Property Safety and Works Committee of September 12th, 2022. Item 10A1, the Cemetery Maintenance Building Assessment Report. The Public Property Safety and Works Committee recommends the Cemetery Maintenance Building Assessment Report be accepted.
Mr. Mayor, I move this report be adopted.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt this committee report. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
Item 13A, employee health insurance premium increase effective October 1, 2022, with addition of Focus Health Program offering city employee bonuses.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the increase to the health insurance premiums effective October 1st, 2022, and the addition of the Focus Health Program be approved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion pass.
Item 13B, quote from Sirius Computer Solutions LLC in the amount of $39,867.56 for a one-year maintenance of the Cisco hardware for the IT department.
Mr. Mayor, I move the quote from Sirius Computer Solutions LLC for maintenance of the Cisco hardware be accepted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the quote from Sirius Computer Solutions. Any discussion? I'm assuming this is a budgeted item.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 13C, quote from Sealer Geospatial in the amount of $53,671.95 for the Trimble Forensics X7 scanning system and Trimble R4S LE GNSS data receiver and data collection unit for the police department.
Mr. Mayor, I move the quote from Sailor Geospatial for scanning system and data unit be accepted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this purchase. Any discussion? How was that, Charlie? I got right by it real quick. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 13D, quote from Gray Shift LLC in the amount of $28,461.05 for Gray Key forensic software for the police department.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the quote from Gray Shift LLC for forensic software be accepted.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to accept the quote from Gray Shift Software LLC, or Gray Shift LLC. Any discussion?
These two fit together?
Do these two go together, or are they separate?
They're separate.
They're separate items completely?
I can explain both if they'd like.
Yeah, would you please?
The first item that you approved, Chuck's your police department, police chief. The first item you approved is a total station that we use for reconstruction, both crime scene and accident scenes. We can use that in connection with our drone. What that does is it goes up and it points plots on the ground, and then we're able to draw in a computerized detail what that crime scene or what that accident scene would look like. And we currently have a total station, but we bought that on a grant years ago, and it's no longer supported, and so they had to be replaced. And so that's what the one that you just approved is for, is to replace that. And we went with the new technology. So I'll give you, for instance, everybody's familiar when Sergeant Wengler was shot. We used a system like this, but we had to use the state patrols. They didn't have one here, so we had to wait for it to get here. And so this will do what that unit did, and we're able to redraw that crime scene then and save a lot of man hours with painstakingly going out and trying to mark it and manually measure it. The second thing that you're looking at now, this Graystroke software system, is a forensics software that allows our IT forensics people, Sergeant Strecker, to open up phones and computers and so forth, and it looks for people that are either sending pornographic messages or people underage that have sent stuff,
or people going to child porn sites, it helps unlock and open all those things. I'd like to say that we wouldn't need it, but in today's society, we do. So that's why we're asking for that.
And
So,
we have to wait to get one here if we needed it today.
well, we don't have that software today.
Correct.
So, right.
You've been borrowing it from,
We have other technology, but as technology moves, it becomes outdated, as any of you that own computers know. And so this is the newest and best approach to this type of technology. So hoping this will set us up for the future. We won't be making any more of these purchases in the near future.
Very good, thank you.
good, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the quote from Gray Shift LLC. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13E, comments from the mayor and city council members in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. No discussion may be held on this item.
Any council members have anything to discuss this evening? The mayor does not have anything either. We will then move on to resolutions.
Item 14A, resolution number R22-118, amending the schedule of fees to increase the fee for the hangar number 1315 to $180 per month. The Board of Airport Commissioners recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor, I move resolution number R22-118 be removed from the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove resolution R22-118 from the agenda. Any discussion?
We're removing it because it's incorporated in 14B, just for your information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 14B, resolution number R22-119, adopting the schedule of fees effective October 1, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R22-119 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R22-119, effective October 1st, 2022, and that would include the fees that we just removed from item 14A. All right.
Correct.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to ordinances on their first reading.
Item 15A, ordinance number 22-23, adopting the 2022-2023 pay plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-23 be read by number only.
Second. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt or to read ordinance number 22-23 by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 22-23.
Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 22-23 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 22-23. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 15B, ordinance number 22-24, adopting the 2022-2023 budget.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-24 be read by number only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read ordinance, rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-24 be read by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 22-24.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 22-24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 22-24. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 15C, ordinance number 22-25, amending city code to allow and regulate use of golf cars, vehicles on public right-of-ways. This is just a first reading, no motion is needed. Item 15D, ordinance number 22-26, creating stormwater sewer district number 10, south of the Armory Drive and Cozy Drive intersection.
Is this also
Nope.
a first reading, or are we trying to remove?
You want to suspend the rules on this one?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-26 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and
Read by number only. How about that?
suspend the rules and read by number only, ordinance number 22-26. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item, oh, go ahead. Ordinance on their second reading.
Okay, we now have ordinances on their,
Oh, thank you. There, okay.
it didn't come up on the screen, so that's what
There we go.
I was looking up. Ordinance on their second reading.
No, now you need to approve the ordinance.
Oh, that was just to.
That was just to suspend the rules.
Okay,
Ord-
all right.
Ordinance number 22-26.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 22-26.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 22-26. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
It's passed.
Motion passes. Ordinance is on their second reading.
Item 16A, ordinance number 22-19, amending city code by enacting chapter 115 of title 11 to impose an occupation tax on lodging.
This is a second reading, which requires no action.
Correct.
Anyone have any comments on this? If not, all right, we will move on, which is meeting adjourned. Thank you all.